Good day. My name is Itumeleng Mbulayeni from WNL Training Academy, and today I'm here with Mama Zanele, and she's been part of the board for quite some time, and she's also part of the educational sector. She's going to give us some tips and tricks to overcome our exam anxiety, manage our time better, and even deep dive in how to prepare or just for your final exams. I know that it's a stressful year, especially for all the learners, especially for matrics, right? So she's going to help us pass with flying colors and everything. So Mama Zanele.
Good morning to me. Thank you for receiving me.
No problem. Thank you for being here. So I just want to ask, because then let's start with something very serious, right? A lot of us go through exam anxiety. I know that I went through it in high school and primary. It's like a stressful time, right? And how do we even overcome that?
To respond to your question to me, I would respond by giving the 3 rules. First one, controlled breathing. By controlled breathing, I mean you need to take a deep breath in through your nose for 4 seconds and hold it for 4 seconds. Slowly exhale your mouth for 6 to 8 seconds. This extended exhale helps activate your body's relaxation response, reducing anxiety and bringing a sense of calm. You must repeat this cycle a few times until you feel more centered and in control. The second rule would be positive visualization. By positive visualization, I simply mean that you need to close your eyes and imagine yourself walking into the exam room with confidence. Visualize or picture yourself answering the questions effortlessly. This helps train the mind to stay calm and focused under pressure that you are in. And the last rule, I would say, it's smart preparation. By smart preparation, I simply mean that start studying early and break your syllabus into manageable sections. Create a study schedule that prioritizes difficult topics. And you need to regularly review all your subjects. You mustn't only concentrate on your most favorite subjects because that could jeopardize your chances of passing.
Yeah.
Use techniques like summarizing, self-quizzing, and teaching concepts to someone else. Just try to mimic that and make it as though it is real. But you know that would at the end be to your benefit. Then also practice the use of old or past question papers under timed conditions to improve your time management when you are doing that. And again, a big warning, which I know most of the students they like to spot certain sections of the syllabus. That is very dangerous. Read everything.
Really?
And make sure that you are able to answer even the most difficult sections of the syllabus in all your subjects.
So we can't just pick and choose.
You can't just pick and choose because you may find yourself in a very difficult situation in the sense that you have only tried to do thorough work on a certain chapter and only to find that it doesn't even come.
So you need to go through each and every
section.
Okay.
And make sure that you master every chapter.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. With the exam papers, right? How do we know how to approach or find the proper allocation for each and every question that we do? Because I know I struggled with it because I had a lot of exam anxiety that I will rush through and just write it.
Okay. Yeah, it is very true to me that many students lose marks simply because they don't answer exactly what is being asked. To avoid that, it is important that you read the instructions carefully. Read the instructions at least twice to fully understand what is required. Misreading a word can change the meaning of the question, so double check before you start writing. That is very important. And then secondly, identify keywords when you start to answer your exam question paper. Look for the keywords like explain, compare, or justify. Understand their specific demands. For instance, to explain, you need to break down a concept step by step. To justify, you need to provide similarities and differences of that particular concept that you are answering. And to justify, you need to provide evidence or reasoning of a statement. So it's very important that you must identify those keywords and know exactly how to respond to each question. And then you also need to look at the factor of mark allocation. Use the mark allocation as a guide for how much detail to provide.
Yeah.
For example, if a question is worth 5 marks, do not overwrite on that particular or over explain on that particular question, but try to allocate or rather provide an answer that is equivalent to the time that has been, to the mark that has been allocated. And lastly, stick to what is required.
Yeah.
If the question asks for 2 reasons, give 2 well-developed reasons with clear explanations and examples. Focus on depth and relevance rather than listing multiple shallow points.
Okay.
Always remember that quality is better than quantity. Yes.
Okay. I know that many students lose marks because they don't know how to answer everything or the questions properly. But then with what you've given us, I think that will help quite a lot, especially that now we know that instead of us rushing, let's take a minute to breathe, or second, because it's an exam.
Yes.
So we just have to take a minute to breathe, or like I said, a second, to actually process and think about it and read each and everything twice than once. Because then when you look at the time, you start thinking, I need to run.
Yes, that's true to me, that many students run out of time before finishing their papers. To avoid that, it is important that you must use your reading time.
Yeah.
That is, scan through the entire paper to identify questions, types, and their difficulty. Prioritize sections you are most confident in, and allocate extra time for complex questions. Planning your approach helps reduce stress and improve efficiency. Also, it is important to allocate time per question. You must do that for yourself. Remember, previously I have alluded to the fact that use the previous question papers, but under controlled conditions, where you will learn the skill of mastering time management when you are answering. Yes, it's the same principle that also applies here. That is, divide your time based on the mark allocation. For example, if a section is worth 40 marks in a 2-hour exam, don't spend an hour, but try to appropriate at least 48 hours to answer that 40-mark question.
Okay.
And also stick to the allocated time to ensure you have time to tackle all other sections and have time to review. I will talk about review later on. And then skip and return. If stuck on a question, move on and return to it later. So it is very important not to find yourself being stuck and being worried and stressing about this question, to say, what does this question mean? What do I have to say? Rather, skip it. Continue with the other questions that you are more confident to answer, and then you can return back to it. This will prevent wasting time on difficult questions.
Okay. So I don't have to overthink over one question.
No.
So it's just like I skip it and then I come back
Try to remember that.
Yes.
Try to remember that, yes.
Okay, so then we don't spend a lot of time wasting time, but rather answering what we know and then coming back. I mean, our teachers used to say it a lot, but once you're in school, you don't really listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, reviewing our work and everything, right? I know that sometimes when I'm done with the question paper, I close it and I hide it so that I don't stick to it. If I pass, I pass. And I just pray to God. I'm like, God, please let me pass this paper. I think that's every student's prayer.
It's natural to do that. Yes. Yeah.
But then now, how do we even review it effortlessly?
Yes, that is a very important question to me, because a lot of students finish their work. A lot of students finish their papers and submit immediately.
Yeah.
And the danger of doing that is that you can lose a lot of marks.
Sure.
You can lose a lot of marks. So it is very important that before submitting, take 5 to 10 minutes to check calculations, for instance, in maths and science, to look for grammar and spelling mistakes in essays, to ensure you have answered every part of question. And a simple review can actually boost your marks significantly. So it is very important to always keep that in mind, that you don't just rush to submit, but take time, quality time. Now you are more relaxed, you are more calm, and at least there's that bit of excitement within you that at least you have answered most of the questions effortlessly. However, the importance of proofreading and editing your work is very, very important.
Sure.
Yes.
I just used to look at that paper and be like, no, Lord, I'm done. Please just make sure I pass. That was my only prayer. Every exam. But like, I think we should get into those habits of reading after we are done writing instead of just rushing it out. But then also, like, in the space of like when you're writing your final exam, especially in the matric, because then they don't give you that time to proofread it and everything, because then it's your final exam.
Yes.
And after that, you're done with high school. And then you talked about time management and everything, but that clock is very, very fast when you're writing. Right? It's just like, how do we even just make sure that we get that time? You know what I'm saying? Especially in that hall, and everyone is just stressed, their heart is beating and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I have indicated earlier on, that at the beginning of writing your exam on that particular subject, make sure you read the instructions, you understand what the question is asking from you, and you also make a note of the questions that you are very confident that I'm going to answer these confidently, but also make a note of those that you are not that confident about, so that you start and write right away, and then later you come back to those that are the most difficult. But after having that, like I've said, reread, try to check if you have phrased your sentences correctly, if your grammar is correct, if your calculations are correct, your punctuation is correct, because those are some of the small things that could make you lose marks, you know. So it is very, very important.
So it's like a do or die type of situation.
Yes, to go through and check for yourself. Check as though you are a marker, but you know that it's your work. But check as though you are a marker, and you are bound to pick up some few mistakes that which you can actually rectify. So that is why it's important that when you write, don't waste time on things that are too difficult, but just write quickly and make sure that you have managed your time accordingly.
Just like one more question before we close. One more question.
Yes.
It's just that sometimes, right, you'll judge yourself too difficultly, right? And then you end up overthinking, and you've already written the right answer, that you scratch out the right answer and write the wrong because you think that one is right and the one is wrong. How do you even manage that?
I think it goes back to the issue of time management. If you have managed your time very well, then you will have enough time to make all those corrections. But if your time was not well planned, you did not think carefully before starting to write, then you might fall into a trap of the invigilator saying, time up.
Sure.
And you realize that, oh, there are so many things that I'm realizing that I needed to correct. So try to read with attentiveness and try to do justice for each question and make sure that once you have exhausted it, then you can move forward to the next one.
Okay, that's a wrap from us, and that what we covered was very awesome and amazing. We covered managing exam anxiety, understanding the question paper and mocking the mock allocations, tips and tricks on how to manage your time. Please manage your time, especially in an exam room. I know it's difficult. I know that your heart is racing. I know that everything is just hitting you all at once, right? And reviewing your work and everything. It is very important to review your work, because then we don't want to fall into that trap saying, hey, time is up, or that we lost marks because we didn't double check our work, right? Answer what you know, check for everything that you know that you think you did well, or check the difficult questions first before you check the ones that you feel very confident in. But I suggest go through everything at once. And with your reading time, I think you get like 10 minutes. Just look through everything and just double check and like scan and plan and everything. You heard it from yourselves. These are all that we have for you guys. Good luck with all your exams. This is all from me. I'll see you in our next episode. Bye.
Bye.